Only on 13 News, along with our partners at the Pilot, 13 News has obtained some exclusive video of the Bow Mariner in its final resting place at the bottom of the ocean. 13 News reporter Eric Turner talked with the divers who took the images. And what did they show?
Well, David, the first thing that strikes you is just how extraordinarily clear they are. The visibility is just hard to believe, quite frankly. Another thing that is hard to believe, despite all that we've heard about the disaster, is the damage done to the ship. 200 feet below the ocean's surface, this twisted metal is visual proof of the devastating explosion on board the Bow Mariner. The footage belongs to dive captain J.T. Barker and Tom Sawicki, who dove the wreck last weekend.
When we all came back, we couldn't believe what we saw. It's just total destruction from the house to the bow.
21 people died here, only 6 were rescued. And based on what the Coast Guard has reported about the disaster, Barker and his divers had a good idea what they'd find. But they didn't expect to see this, a fire hose, pulled, but never connected.
Where they were probably getting ready to attempt to fight the fire, and if there was a second explosion, it blew them away right off, because it's not hooked up.
Everyone who went on this trip was an expert diver. Captain Barker is quick to point out that going down to depths of 200 feet and greater is dangerous. It's perhaps even life-threatening if you don't know what you're doing. Coming up at 6, we'll have an update on the Coast Guard investigation into the Bow Mariner disaster. David?
All right, Eric, thanks so much for that. Well, new information.
So tonight, a story and video you'll see only on 13 News. We, along with our partners at the Pilot, have obtained new video of the Bow Mariner. We're all familiar with that nighttime video of the ship sinking, but this video shows a whole new perspective. 13 News reporter Eric Turner talked with the men who shot the video. And Eric, what can you tell us?
Regina, they dove this wreck last weekend with 2 of the divers taking about a half hour of footage each. That footage confirms what we had all come to expect. The Bow Mariner was devastated when the ethanol on board apparently detonated. In video that's surprisingly clear, considering the depth of the wreck, you can see the damage to the doomed tanker. Pieces of the hull blown apart, mangled pipes. The Bow Mariner was devastated from the house to the bow. For Captain J.T. Barker and his fellow divers, this was a chance to document history, the biggest maritime disaster in this area in 20 years. 21 lives were lost in the explosion. Thoughts the divers kept at bay because of the difficulty of what they were doing.
But once you're in the water, you're not really thinking about that so much because you have so much other things you need to focus on to keep yourself alive while you're going doing it, and just focusing on, okay, where am I, where's my buddy, where am I relative to the wreck, where are we going, and then you're also trying to film.
Now, Coast Guard investigators have footage of their own, more than 50 hours of videotape of the wreck. Late today, Chief Investigator says they still have not interviewed the 4 crew members of the ship who testified before that federal grand jury last week after getting immunity from prosecution. We'll have much more tonight on Pilot 13 News at 10. Reporting live from the newsroom, Eric Turner, 13 News.
But first, the Bow Mariner tragedy. This is Bow Mariner. An explosion tears through the tanker, leaving only 6 survivors. Now exclusive underwater video of the wreckage.
But I've never seen nothing like this.
And the divers who filmed it.
Good evening, I'm Regina Mobley.
And I'm Sandra Parker. David has the night off. We begin with a story that you'll see only on 13 News, an exclusive video of the sunken Bow Mariner.
The images showed the immense damage inflicted during the deadly blast that killed 21 sailors. It happened February 28th off the coast of Chincoteague on Virginia's eastern shore. The tanker was carrying several million gallons of ethanol when it blew up, sinking in a matter of minutes. Only 6 of the sailors survived, and they're not telling investigators much about what happened. 13 News reporter Eric Turner is working this story with our partners at the Pilot tonight. This is exclusive video, and it's staggering.
It is in part just because the pictures are so clear. It's hard to believe they were actually taken at a depth of 120 to 200 feet below the surface of the ocean. These images also could shed some light on the final actions of the doomed tanker's crew. By now, you've probably seen the videotape of the Bow Mariner sinking and heard the terror of that Mayday call.
This is Bow Mariner. We are on fire. We are on fire.
But this is the Bow Mariner as you've never seen it, resting at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean.
We couldn't believe what we saw. It's just total destruction from the house to the bow.
Dive Captain J.T. Barker was among the first to get this close to the ship since the disaster. Carrying a cargo of ethanol, the Bow Mariner exploded in late February off Virginia's eastern shore. Only 6 of the 27 people on board survived.
I've been in the shipyard industry for 25 years. And we've had barges, I work at Kelowna Shipyard, we've had gas barges come in that the deck has just blowed open, right? But I've never seen nothing like this.
Port side of the ship, just gone.
The dive was dangerous, taking Barker and fellow diver Tom Sawicki to depths greater than 200 feet.
What struck me right away was the damage and the sheer size. And
the video they brought back may also offer clues into the final actions of the crew. There, by the bridge, a fire hose dangles free, clearly pulled across the deck, but never connected to a water supply.
They were probably getting ready to attempt to fight the fire, and if there was a second explosion, it blew them away right off, because it's not hooked up.
We have a good documentation of how she lies shortly after the damage. I think that's probably fairly important.
Barker, Sawicki, and the other divers who saw the Bow Mariner are experts. A dive to those depths can be fatal. Pilot reporter Jack Dorsey updates the Coast Guard's investigation into the disaster in tomorrow's paper. Reporting live from the Pilot Newsroom, Eric Turner, 13 News.
Breaking news.